What if the real reason your manifestation hasn't shown up yet is exactly what you think you're doing right? You visualize, repeat affirmations, study Neville Goddard, apply the law of assumption, and yet, deep down, it feels like life is stuck, like you're trapped in an invisible loop. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Maybe your faith is nothing more than hope in disguise. There's something no one tells you about hope, and it might be sabotaging everything without you noticing. It's sneaky. It wears optimism on the outside, but vibrates doubt underneath. Yes, there's a kind of hope that actually blocks you. It sounds nice, looks positive, but carries a lukewarm, divided energy. Neville Goddard warned about this openly. The feeling is the secret, and what you feel while you wait could be undoing it all. What if your hope is actually feeding the exact opposite of what you want? Today, you're going to see why just having hope isn't enough, and how it could be the biggest mistake in your journey. We're going to break down this silent saboteur, reveal how it hides in your everyday life, and show you step by step how to replace it with a kind of faith that truly manifests. But listen, understanding it is just the beginning. Real change starts when you spot that hidden doubt inside yourself and choose to let it go once and for all. Ready to see what most people never do. Some people think they're walking in faith, but deep down, they're feeding a doubt disguised as hope. And it's subtle. It's not that loud, obvious doubt. It hides behind little phrases like, "I hope it works," or "maybe someday." It dresses like faith, but smells like insecurity, like smiling at life with your fingers crossed behind your back. That's when the manifestation starts off already limping, because the inner foundation isn't solid. Doubt in disguise is dangerous because it tricks your logical mind into thinking everything's okay. You visualize, say your affirmations, talk about the law of assumption with confidence, but underneath there's a whisper. What if it's not for me? And that whisper carries weight. It seeps into your scene and feeling for faith. It looks like hope, but it's not fertile. It's lukewarm desire, waiting for the world to prove it's possible, when it should be the other way around. Ever heard someone say, "I believe, but..." That "but" says it all. When it comes to authentic manifestation through faith, there's no room for that kind of internal bargaining. Weak hope doesn't create reality. It watches, waits, and wishes. Hope laced with doubt doesn't activate living in the end. It paralyzes. And the wild part? This happens all the time without people even realizing it. What if that's exactly what's been blocking your manifestation? There's a kind of hope that vibrates like certainty. It doesn't hesitate, doesn't negotiate with reality, doesn't depend on signs. It comes from within, rooted in feeling, the foundation of real faith. That kind of solid hope is the sister of faith and often looks just like it. When someone assumes the state, they don't wish for it to happen. They live as if it already has. That's when imagination creates reality. On the other hand, shaky hope lives in the space between maybe and someday. It takes 2 steps forward and 1 back. It's driven by unstable emotions, born from beliefs that quietly sabotage faith. It tries to apply the law of assumption, but with a divided heart. One part believes, the other still wants proof. It's like planting a seed and digging it up every day to see if it's growing. That kind of emotional insecurity kills the miracle before it ever has a chance. Think about someone who says they're confident, but keeps begging for signs. That person isn't anchored in solid hope. They're floating in anxious expectation, because where there's expectation, there's still absence. Hope that's grounded vibrates with the feeling of "it's already mine." Those who replace hope with certainty live in the end, and that's one of the strongest signs of true faith. But is that really what you're doing? Doubt rarely shows up in an obvious way. It's smarter than that. Most of the time it hides behind nice phrases dressed up as hope, wearing a smile and speaking softly. "I hope it works. Maybe it'll happen. Someday, who knows?" Sound familiar? These phrases may seem harmless, even positive, but they expose a divided state. One foot in faith, one stuck in fear. Half faith is still doubt in disguise. Neville Goddard spoke about this clearly. Where there is doubt, there is no conscious creation. Real faith doesn't say maybe. It assumes, lives, breathes the outcome. Someone who has truly assumed doesn't wait for when, they dwell in the now. The problem is, these seemingly innocent expressions sabotage your creative power. Doubt disguised as hope is the silent killer of miracles. It's like someone sitting on the couch saying, "I'm waiting for my miracle," while inside, they're quietly thinking, "What if it never happens?" That split emotion blocks the real feeling. The law of assumption requires alignment between your inner scene and the emotional tone of faith. When your heart wavers, the universe can't read your signal clearly. So, more than just repeating nice phrases, you have to pay attention to what's actually behind them, because that's what really shapes your reality. When part of you desires and the other part doubts, the universe picks up on that internal conflict. This division doesn't scream, and it whispers, "I want it, but I'm scared." And that whisper is powerful. It creates a lukewarm, unclear vibration, like a wave that never reaches the shore. Imagination loses power, the feeling fades, and what could have become creation turns into silent frustration. You don't know why things aren't moving, but the brakes are inside you. This emotional split is like driving with one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. On the outside, everything looks fine, affirmations, visualizations, gratitude, but inside your vibrational field is confused. Hope versus faith becomes a dangerous game. Pure desire, when mixed with fear, turns into attachment. And attachment kills manifestation. You're not feeling as if it's already yours and you're trying to force it into existence. Anyone who's ever tried to manifest a relationship knows this. You imagine the ideal partner, you feel the love, and then comes the whisper, what if they never show up? That break, that subtle shift, is powerful. It pulls you out of living in the end and traps you in the limbo of waiting. And in that oscillation, conscious creation falls apart. So the real question becomes, can you stabilize your inner state and turn this mix into genuine certainty? There's a quiet but powerful shift that changes the entire way you manifest. Stop saying, "I hope," and start affirming, "I have." That small change flips everything. Your mind starts to align with certainty, not possibility. Instead of dreaming of the day it might happen, you begin to feel as if you're already living it. This is the practical foundation of replacing hope with certainty. A great exercise is rewriting your affirmations in the present tense. Instead of "I will find a great job," say, "I am fulfilled in my dream job." Instead of "one day I'll have financial peace," say, "I am abundant and free now." Sounds like a tiny shift, right? But it's not. These little adjustments shape your entire vibration. Authentic faith doesn't shout in desperation. It walks in quiet certainty, like someone who already arrived. Another powerful tool is the mental scene with feeling. Picture yourself already living that moment and truly feel it as if it's happening right now. Neville Goddard called this living in the end. It's not enough to see it with your eyes closed. You have to feel it with your heart wide open. Your whole body has to believe it. And every time that doubtful thought creeps in, replace it immediately. Take a breath, return to the scene, repeat your certainty. This is training. And those who train, manifest. It's not what you think that creates, it's what you feel. Your mind can repeat "everything's fine" 1,000 times, but if your underlying feeling is fear or lack, nothing changes. Feeling is the secret. It's the emotion that activates the field. The universe responds to your emotional state, not to pretty words. That's why hope with hidden fear never leads to lasting results. Your emotions have to match the scene you've assumed as real. Some people visualize wealth while secretly feeling afraid of running out, or think about love while carrying the weight of loneliness. That's wishing with your entire body stuck in a state of absence. True faith isn't loud, it's quietly unshakable. It's not hyped, it's calm. When you feel as someone who already has it, you send out the signal of ownership, and then reality begins to echo that. Doubt in disguise simply can't survive when your feeling is firm. If you want to test this today, start with something small. A hot cup of coffee in your hand, the sound of a notification for unexpected money, the smell of your new home. Feel it in detail. Let your body react as if it's real. This kind of practice strengthens the signs of true faith. Emotion becomes the bridge between the invisible and the visible, and little by little, your vibration begins to carry the signature of the life you actually want to live. Behind every disguised doubt, there's usually a silent belief whispering, "This isn't for you." And those voices go way back. Childhood, culture, past experiences that were never healed. Phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," "Good men don't exist," "Nobody's happy all the time." They shape the invisible. You might study Neville Goddard and repeat, "Imagination creates reality," but if you're carrying emotional wounds inside, they'll sabotage everything. These beliefs are like cracks in the foundation of your faith. You build a house with positive affirmations, but it shakes with the slightest wind of uncertainty. And worse, many of these beliefs run on autopilot. When someone thinks, "What if it never happens?" That thought didn't just show up today, it was planted a long time ago. These are the beliefs that quietly destroy your faith from within, and they only change when you're willing to face them honestly and consciously. A good place to start is by observing your emotional reactions. When you imagine something good, do you feel lightness or tension? Does joy come up or guilt? These feelings are clues pointing to what's buried inside. A simple exercise: write down everything you believe about money, love, success, and question each one. Where did this come from? Does it still make sense? You can only truly live in the end once you clear the ground you're standing on. Because authentic faith can't survive in poisoned soil. Every time that shaky hope shows up, the kind that feels like faith but carries a little, "What if it doesn't happen?" Pause. Take a breath. That pause is where the shift begins. Instead of going into autopilot, ask, "What am I really feeling right now?" If it's anxious hope or insecurity dressed up as positivity, stop right there. The secret is breaking the pattern before it spreads through your emotional field. In that moment, close your eyes and create a new scene. It can be something simple: laughing at a message that changed your day, signing that contract you've been waiting for. The image needs to be vivid, but more than anything, it needs to feel real. Bring your body into the scene. Feel the breath, the heartbeat, the chills, everything. That kind of emotional rehearsal rewires your brain. It replaces doubt with a more stable, aligned state, the kind that matches authentic faith. To reinforce it, use statements of ownership. "This is already mine. I'm living it now. I am." But don't just say them out loud. Feel them. Feel it until your body believes it. Do this every time you notice yourself slipping into that "let's see if it works" mindset. Daily practice creates emotional consistency, and emotional consistency is what turns the law of assumption into real-life experience. Because it's not about controlling the outside world, it's about mastering what happens inside. When true faith settles in, something shifts, and it's not just in your thoughts. Your soul quiets down, your body relaxes, you stop checking the clock, counting days, searching for signs. A deep calm takes over, like someone who knows the package is already on the way. Doubt disguised as hope simply loses its grip because certainty fills the space. And no, it's not arrogance, it's peace. Another clear sign is strong intuition. You start noticing subtle nudges, unexpected paths, synchronicities that confirm what you've been feeling inside. The inner scene and the feeling of faith become one, and the outside world responds. Sometimes, you don't even need the desire anymore, and it's already become your identity. That's when living in the end becomes your new normal. Some people only notice this when they finally stop pushing. They just let go. And it's in that surrender that the signs start showing up. A call you weren't expecting, a sudden idea, an answer that appears out of nowhere. These are signs of authentic manifestation. When you stop begging and start thanking before it even happens, when waiting becomes a quiet celebration, and then a deep knowing rises that your manifestation has already begun, even if it hasn't shown itself yet. When hope transforms into certainty, something powerful happens. Manifestation stops being a chase and becomes a reflection. It's no longer about waiting, it's about expressing. Your outer reality starts bending to your new inner state, and everything flows with less effort. You don't have to make it happen anymore because what you truly felt already is. This is the essence of the law of assumption, assuming with your body, your heart, and your spirit. From that moment on, time doesn't matter. External conditions don't matter. The mind stops trying to control, the ego quiets down, and real faith takes the wheel. Doubt disguised as hope no longer has room to breathe because certainty takes over. It's like something inside says, "I don't need to fight anymore," and that inner ease attracts with a power that no outer effort can match. The desire stops being a prison and becomes a bridge. And here's the paradox. It's exactly when you let go that everything starts to line up. The pieces fit, the right people show up, the path clears. Why? Because your vibration has shifted. The universe doesn't respond to begging, it responds to being. And when you are certainty, you become inevitable. But how do you recognize when that moment has arrived? And how do you stay there without falling back into old patterns? Now tell me, how many times did you think you had faith when deep down you were just hoping? How many manifestations never came because deep inside there was still that little, "what if it's not for me?" Doubt disguised as hope is sneaky. but now you know how to spot it. And more importantly, how to replace it with unshakable certainty that lives in the end, not in the middle of the journey. So, what are you going to do with all of this? Will you keep waiting or start feeling as if it's already yours? Will you keep repeating things out of habit or begin to practice with intention, presence, and truth? The choice is yours, and so is the manifestation, because real faith doesn't negotiate. It assumes. If this message woke something up inside you, if it resonated with you, if it made something click, then make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. There's so much more coming your way, and any one of these videos could be the exact spark your transformation needs to begin.